one of our technology leads out of South Africa, Lauren. Lauren, good to see you.
Nice to see you as well, Zane.
Lauren, just give us the audience a quick sort of synopsis of who you are, what you do at Protea, and how long you've been around for.
Okay. I'm Lauren Peters. I'm based in South Africa, as I mentioned. And I first was a manager at Protea and then recently became a technology lead. And yeah, did I miss something? Gosh.
No, that's perfect. That sort of covers it all. And why I brought Lauren on today is, 2024 for us has been a big year of improvement. And that is everything from how we run the business, how we track, how we're doing different work, re-looking at technology that's in place, and as well as giving people additional roles. And one of those roles is the technology lead, which is critically important to who we are and what we want to be in terms of moving forward. And I think it'd be a good time right now for us to just sort of discuss, for all the accountants out there, what technology we are using on a day-to-day basis to make Protea tick. And these are one of those things that people ask me all the time. When I get those calls from accountants, they're like, "Hey, I'm thinking of starting my own business. Do you mind, jumping on a call with me? We can discuss the way I do things." I would love just to get your input on, how you started, what you thought about, what you're looking at. And I love sharing that information, but I think it's good to sort of take a moment and to talk to somebody who understands the technology, is using it on a day-to-day basis, and share what we're using to be successful at Protea. So, Lauren, tell us where we're going today. What are we going to talk about?
Well, I think for me, a good way to showcase what we use at Protea is to basically run you through a day at Protea. So from the moment I get out of bed, make your coffee if you drink coffee or tea or whatever your cup of tea. Well, for me, it's take my kid to school. As soon as I get back from that, the first thing I do is I open up my laptop, obviously, right? And then the first thing I then do after that is I open T-sheets, because all our time is billable. Even if the first thing I'm doing is not necessarily billable to a client, still I have to clock in to show what I'm doing for the day. So the first thing I'll do is clock into T-sheets. And as soon as I'm done clocking into T-sheets, the next thing I do is log on to Karbon. Now, Karbon for me...
Let's quickly stop
sorry.
at T-sheets,
Yes.
QuickBooks Time, as they rebranded it.
Sorry.
We're going to have a lot of people listening to this cringing that we keep timesheets. It is the cool kids club is to not have timesheets, not to track time, not to bill hours. We obviously still do that. We're old school in that way. But, whenever people make these blanket conversations, statements, they really need to take into account take the facts into account as well. You can't just blanket everything. And for us, hourly has worked the best because we have clients that are very seasonal and have extremely, varying degrees of cash needs at different periods within the year. And it has been helpful for them, maybe not perfect for us as an accounting business, but it has benefited our clients to be able to say, slow down, speed up, and effectively adjust their billing on a month-to-month basis. I totally agree with all the comments that I will see. Billing like that is tough because you have no control of your revenue number. But realistically, our revenue is pretty consistent. Even though we bill by the hour, we get pretty close to the different number. We'll see the spikes when we have specific work come through, like costings, like year end. But generally speaking, it is fairly flat, and it really helps the smaller clients and the ones that are in a little bit of trouble. And we think that's great. Now, again, obviously, I'm basically painting myself in the corner, because if I'm saying it's consistent, then why not go to fixed fee? I get it. Definitely something we're thinking about, assessing, and we'll see how that goes forward. But for now, we're using QuickBooks Time to track our time on a daily basis. And we're very cognizant of tracking every single minute. And as I've told the team before, not tracking your time is one thing I will fire you for, because I want to make sure that you're not swallowing time. For me, that's also very important. State of California also requires us to make sure people aren't working a bunch of overtime and not being paid. So there is that compliance benefit as well that helps us out from that standpoint.
Sorry. Yeah, I agree with everything you said because while we do have billing based on hours, I do find for a lot of my clients, my hours are pretty much standard. There'll be fluctuations, like you said, quarterly or if something comes up at costing. But yeah, I enjoy tracking my time. Also keeps me accountable. So, yes.
And it takes away the hard conversations, especially around like big projects, right? It doesn't mean we have to like renegotiate a contract or send a new, scope of service out every time somebody needs something extra. It gives us the freedom to sort of talk about it, give them an estimate, and move forward. And I think that has been really helpful in a very project-driven company, especially with our clients, making changes, opening new tasting rooms, maybe, pivoting and going a different direction. So it's been beneficial for us. But granted, I do see the benefit of going to fixed fee billing, and I'm sure a lot of clients would appreciate it as well.
Yes, understood.
Okay.
And
Back
then,
to your day.
so
Good day.
like,
Back to your day.
yes, back to my day. So after I've gone into QuickBooks Time, I then open our wonderful app or online software, Karbon, which I feel like I spend most of my day there because it organizes my entire life. The minute I go in there, I spend about 5 minutes where I just peruse my inbox, figure out what clients I need to focus on next, and also just get rid of any emails that perhaps aren't client driven or client related. So like admin emails or just information from the client, from the company. So company information, or even just like training emails that come through from different providers. So I sort through all of those quickly in the morning, 5 to 10 minutes max. And then I dive into my clients. I first like to sort through my emails and then triage them. So I'll put them on my to-do list and assign priorities to them. Either it would have been done for me by the account manager in the US if they send me a task to do, or if it isn't a task-driven email, I would then assign a to-do date and a due date for myself, and it'll get that put on my to-do list. And then once everything is cleared, I would then go onto my to-do list and actually work through my tasks for the day. And it's all nice and organized. I don't have, it takes the thinking out of it a bit because you know what your list is for the day. And even if it's not just for today, I can say, oh, today is a bit quieter. Perhaps I can pull something forward from tomorrow just to help tomorrow. Tomorrow looks a bit crazy. So I find the to-do list for me is very critical for my day and planning. So that's the next thing I do.
Yeah, Karbon as a practice management software has been, for me, life-changing. I don't want to remember a world before Karbon because honestly, it
I
was,
remember.
yeah, exactly. You were there before as well. It was chaotic, right? And as at that point in time, we were a small team. It really was just me. Candace was around, but they had a very small client book at that time, sort of in two companies, and she hadn't fully come over to Protea yet. And honestly, I lived in a fire drill all the time because I just had Outlook at that point, and all it was a bunch of emails in my inbox, and I knew they were important, else I would have cleared them. And because I hadn't cleared them, I knew how to get to them, but trying to find ways to prioritize my time was really, really difficult. It was very difficult for me if I sent work to a team member to remember to follow up. And I think that was the hardest portion of not having a practice management software, is not understanding I've assigned this work to somebody. Where does it live? Like I effectively was writing it down on a piece of paper and hoping I didn't lose the piece of paper within my normal day, which would happen all the time. Or I would write a list down and be like, oh, I can't read my handwriting. I don't know what that is. I'll just scratch it off. It's not a great way to live a life. And I think if you're going into any sort of accounting business, accounting firm, if you're looking for a job or trying to start your own one, I think a question around practice management software is really important because I struggle to see how any business can be successful without some tool that can help you be more organized, understand what needs to be done and when it needs to be done. And again, it doesn't have to be an accounting specific tool. It just needs to be some sort of project management tool that can help you along. For us, Karbon is an absolute winner. And I was skeptical when it got brought to me. I was like, this is never going to work. It's an overlay to our email. I'm not sure what we're paying for. Where's the value? And it took me about half a day, and I had to walk over to Candace, apologize profusely, saying, I was wrong. This is incredible. This is life changing. And now I can't think of going back to a world without it. That's like, it's Halloween's approaching here in the US. That is like the nightmare for me. my outfit will be a firm without a practice management software, which will just be an absolute disaster of craziness.
No, I agree with that because, like I said, I knew the time before, and when I came back, I didn't go into my story, but when I came back, it was a big change for me because obviously I hadn't known that at Protea. And then it also took me like a quick half a day to get used to, because I'm also a type of person that gets very forgetful. So if it gets lost in the mess, because some days you just get a ton of emails and then this is one task you need to get out. And then before you know it, it slipped your mind, but you got stuck in something else. At least now, if I go to my to-do list, is there, and I haven't ticked it off, so I know I have to still attend to it. And yeah, it just helps. And also, if you can see like the work items, I'm going into detail now. If you can see the work items, then someone can check in and see the status. And for me, another big positive of Karbon, there's a lot of new features that came out, and one of our team members, Anzel, keeps us up to date. But the comment function is so nice, because sometimes you don't need an email just to say noted, or I don't want to have like 30 emails on a thread where it's just be like a one-liner comment. So I really enjoy the comments, and it helps that the clients don't necessarily see the comments. So we can have a quick discussion without having an email being sent and perhaps mistakenly sent to a client you didn't want to send, which is a comment. So they can't see that if you have an email.
Yeah, I truly believe comments improve communication because it's a quick and easy way to make sure that you bring somebody else in on a conversation that they necessarily won't see. They have an at mention functionality, so I can at mention the team member, and I can either just at mention it so they're aware of the email, or I can create a comment. I could create a task basically saying, based on this email, can you do X, Y, and Z? And then I've got the functionality on the right-hand side that allows me to assign it to their timeline or their to-do list and give them a due date. And that's a good opportunity to improve that communication, make it smoother, make sure people are aware what's going on. We work in teams on all of our projects. So it's a great way to keep people involved. And it's a great way to make sure that, for us, make sure that things get onto a timeline as well. Like I try to use a little U to make sure I go through it and, read, comment, assign, and put to a timeline. But it can at times happen that it falls off, and it's good that somebody else is seeing it so it can make sure it gets to the timeline, which is really, really important. For me, it's just about transparency. It improves the communication. And, I'm even looking at our agenda for this call. It's all in the comments where we went back and forth and asked questions and clarifications. There's a bunch on there. I can imagine like an old school Outlook, just the thread. I would struggle to even find the last one on it. And
Yeah.
for me, that's just an efficient process because I can go quickly and I can get the answer. What should I be looking at? What should I be talking about? Specifically to me, it's really helpful. I just had an example today where our, for lack of a better term, controller, Sonia, was talking to one of the account managers about something, and they had a question within the long email specifically to me. She knows I'm probably not going to read that very clearly, so she went out, mentioned Zane, asked the question, got her answer, and there was no holdup. So it can be made a way as well to sort of pull the prioritization out of a big list of items so the person can prioritize it, especially when there's multiple people on a call and a person's busy, or they potentially on the CC, so maybe they're not thinking about it as the most important email as well. So that optionality is just improves the ability for us to do business through communication.
Yes, and there was something that you mentioned when you were chatting about it, on the right hand side. Sorry, yes. When we assign, yeah, I'm a person that does left and right. I always say to my husband, "Let's go left," and then he's like, "Do you mean right?" And I'm like, "Yes." So I always have to do this. So on the right hand side, yes. When you assign it to someone, you can give them a due date, and for us that's helpful because for our communication to flow so well between the two continents, it's helpful for us to have a 24-hour turnaround. So if I give you a due date, you'll reply within 24 hours. And if you can't, you would then comment and say, I've got your email, I acknowledge it, but I'll maybe only can look at it tomorrow, or can it wait until Thursday, for example. So that also helps improve our communication and stick to one of our rules at Protea, which is 24-hour turnaround.
Yep, great point. The last thing we'll say on Karbon for me is obviously all our tasks for our clients live in there. So we pre-populate that as well. So people will know what's going on in their week. They will know what's going on in their day. Before you even look at their emails, they'll have a good sense of what they need to get done in the day. And that makes a big difference. It allows us to standardize tasks as well between clients, which makes it a lot smoother. And the final one, which is a sort of a new implementation of Protea, is the introduction of client tasks, where we can create tasks for the client. This is particularly helpful in situations where we need statements, warehouse reports, all these things that we might not necessarily be able to get access to, and we are reliant on the client to get it. They get a task, which then has a regular reminder as well. So it reduces the amount of times that we have to follow up, as well as, costing them extra time for us to follow up, because the system is not automatically doing it for us. And automation is really important to us to improve the way we do business.
100%. I love that functionality, because sometimes if I forget to follow up, then it goes a few days past, and then it's been like 5 days and I've already needed a statement 2 days ago, but now Karbon does that for you. So it definitely improves everything.
Yeah, I think it just takes a lot of stress away, because it's just one less thing to worry about, because you know that, a computer is effectively doing it for you. So I think that helps a lot.
Yes, 100%. And then
you've got your work.
So
what happens next?
Yes. Now I'm deciding what I'm going to say. So I decided I'm going to now get stuck into my work. And then I want to say majority of our clients are on QuickBooks Online. So I would then most likely clock into QuickBooks Online next and get stuck into my task for the day. Or if it was a specific request that I have to look into in QuickBooks and go look into the accounting software, I would then spend majority of the day doing any accounting work. And then the other thing I probably also use with QuickBooks is Microsoft Excel. We do a lot of our workings and stuff in Microsoft Excel as well. So that's, I will spend majority of the rest of the day clocking in and out of QuickBooks time, and then clocking in and out of the various clients on QuickBooks Online for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, so email is stored in 365. So we're users of 365, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, whatever, that stack's in place. Works best for us. It covers a lot of areas. We're moving more and more of our business that way. Currently we're using, Zoom. We're going to move over to Teams in the future. We're using Dropbox at the moment. We're going to move over to SharePoint in the future. So there's going to be more and more movement towards the Microsoft products. We've sort of come to that conclusion. We're there. We're halfway in anyway. We might as well become a full Microsoft company. So we're gonna follow that way. On the QBO side, I would say it's close to 70% at this point of our clients are QBO. Vast majority of that left, 30% that's left is some sort of insured product, either being desktop or enterprise. We'd love to move all our desktop clients over, but some people are holding on for dear life for who knows what reason. It just is what it is. And then we've got a couple of small ones here and there, some odd pieces. But generally, that's what we focus on is QuickBooks related clients, which is more than sufficient for the size of client we deal with. And it is important for everybody to know that we are a QuickBooks elite pro advisor. So that's sort of the highest level on the pro advisor standing. So it comes with all the benefits, as well as all our team members are trained and certified with QBO certifications, which is critical for us. And it is part of the people's KPIs and goals every year is to make sure they get that certification in place.
Yes, we've got to get done by June, our recertification every year. Yep. So that is definitely it.
Yeah, and QuickBooks at the moment is catching a lot of stray bullets. For a lot of fact, it is warranted. But at this point, when we look at the market, we still feel like it's the best option out there, specifically for our type of clients. I know a lot of people like Xero. I'm just not a fan. I haven't ever really liked it. We have one client on it, and it's just difficult, clunky. And honestly, it might just be because we don't use it a lot, so we just don't know what we're doing. We're not certified. We're not trained in it. So that's possibly with it. But for now, we'll be a QB, an Intuit type business. So we're riding the Microsoft Intuit. We're riding the giants at this point. And we're okay with that. It's working for us.
Definitely is working for us. Yeah, that's my day in a nutshell. But actually what I want to do, so every day will be kind of a similar type of thing. Then it could be every day, but at least once a week on a Friday. Another type of internal software we use to run our business is 15.5. So it's a platform where the person will basically tell you how their week has been. We have standard questions that we ask the team members every Friday. At least on a Friday, they have to complete it. But they can complete it any day during the week. If there's something popped up they want to talk about, they just pop it in there and then by submission on a Friday. And that helps us as well in our remote communication, ensure everyone is doing well. Everyone is, there's no concerns we raise. They can even tell us what went well that week. So share the wins with us, share the struggles, and then it helps the management team also support our team as best as we can.
Yeah, 15.5 calls himself a continuous performance management tool. Like that's like their catchphrase, their slogan, whatever they want to do. And, big part of it is, we have performance appraisals on a regular basis with our team, but I like to explain that our performance appraisals are just effectively a summary of what's happened in the past 6 months. Going into those performance appraisals, there should be no surprises because everything that is happening is either being discussed in 15.5 and been brought up on a weekly basis, or it's been followed up within our sort of monthly catch-up calls with our team members. So we use 15.5 to manage our performance, manage our happiness of our team, and really is an early warning signal specifically for the performance managers to identify when there is a problem with the team member. Because if something seems off, that pushes up a flag to, hey, reach out to this person, see if they need some extra support. And we've had it in place now, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, maybe since 2019, 2020. I don't know, sometime like that, where we knew we needed to just be able to connect with our remote team on a more regular basis. We found 15.5. We've been super happy with it. It's just a great way to connect. So a great way to share wins, share losses, stresses, and it just gives us a good sense of where we are as a business, gives us a good sense of where people are as individuals, and gives us the opportunity to help them be the best version of themselves.
100%. And on that part, we said best version of themselves. We've also, I would say this year mostly, or more, we've driven it more. The thriving, let's call it now. The new name is Thrive. So we acknowledge team members that thrive for that month. And I think it uplifts everybody. Because even if I know we see another list with the top 5 or whatever it is, but everyone that has thrived for whatever reason will get a nice little note from our HR. And it just uplifts you. So it's another way to at least also communicate our thankfulness for a fellow team member. So I think it's very critical in our business.
Yeah, that monthly check-in is super important. It's not just to be able to reward those people, and it is great getting it. I got one this morning from Janet saying, hey, well done, you got to thrive. I was like, yes, I did it. But it's also just a great moment to point them out, just to sit down and go, who's done something special for me? Who's helped me a lot this month? How can I just write down on a piece of paper my acknowledgement of it? Maybe they're not going to see every single note, but taking time to just acknowledge people that are doing good things for you is good for your own soul. And it's something we should all try to do. We should always be gracious of the help we're getting and take a moment to say thank you.
I agree. It's a nice take on it because sometimes you get so stuck in it that you forget. Even if it was a small thing, that thing brightened up your day for that moment, or that little act of kindness that someone did brightened up your day. And so, I agree with what you said. And then one other tool, I hope I'm remembering everything, but one other tool has become also very critical in the last, I would say, it's a few months, last couple of months, is Guru. It's basically our little intranet, I will call it. Our intranet where we house everything now. At the start, it was very daunting because everything was being added all at once. But now, even for our call today, when Zane mentioned what we're gonna discuss and just gave me a little brief outline, I said, let me go and just go search into Guru, type in a few little keywords and see what pops up. What material has there been in the past? And we just have a read through. And I think that's what I like, because previously what we did before Guru was we had everything in Dropbox. And then what would happen in Dropbox is, let's say, a HR leave policy. If there was 10 different versions, all 10 versions will pop up, and then I would see the version from 2020, and in the meantime, it's actually a 2024 version. So I might have just missed that. Whereas now in Guru, what's great is it will be uploaded and be reviewed every annually or whatever the frequency is. But everything is there for you, so you don't have to think about it anymore. And it's a nice little tool for us.
Yeah, Guru has been great. We implemented it in January of this year, so it's still pretty new to us, but it has been really great to be able to go to a place and go, just remind me who reports to this person, right? And I can go org chart, and I can find the latest org chart. I can see, okay, who reports to this person. Great. Okay, I have a question for them. Let me send it out to them. I've got a new client and they want us to do X task. Okay, let me go type into Guru and see if I can find something. or go to, we have a cheat sheet in there in terms of finding out who's really good at topics. If somebody's struggling, it gives us a place to go to and figure out, okay, this is a great person for them to talk to. Let's make sure we put them in contact, or like ask them to go speak to this person. It just houses everything about Protea, how we do it, and the best way to do things. And its functionality is really, really great in terms of just the ability to search. Guru is a tab that I have open on my computer all the time. I can go in there right now. I can take a look at it. I'm on the landing page. It gives me all these cool little things of what I've seen, what's recommended. But also it's got great things like important upcoming dates, birthdays, who's going to be on vacation. Are there any paid holidays coming up where one of the offices will be closed? It just gives me access to everything within the business, and I don't have to go to what was just like the spider web of Dropbox, where not only could you catch the wrong version, you could catch a version that somebody made and two different people have made the same type of SOP, and now which one is correct? The best part about it as well is that for every document that gets put in there, there's a verification process, as well as a reminder for that documentation to be re-verified on a frequency that makes sense. So it could be monthly, quarterly, twice a year, annually, and it puts it in there so that it's not just, do and die type information. Somebody actually needs to go in and say, is this still valid? Does it need to be looked at? Does there need to be changes made? And then if it is, well, let's, we create announcements. Please take a look at this. There has been a change. These are the changes. So it keeps people informed and keeps people accountable as well, because now there's no excuse for not knowing, because your starting point is go to Guru. If you can't find in Guru, well, then ask a team member.
100%. And we are driving that strong in South Africa, because a lot of times you might have a technical question, and our first thing is just ask a team member on WhatsApp, because we use WhatsApp as a quick communication in South Africa. And then sometimes you can help someone over WhatsApp, but you can't give them a detailed answer. And then there is the SOP in Guru. So all you say is, have you looked in Guru? And then they'll type in their question. Maybe it's a software related question, like a specific DTC platform. They'll type in that platform, and then they'll bring up the SOP, and then their question will probably be answered. And if their question wasn't answered, they can see who created it. Maybe they have some more knowledge. And like Zane said, then we could use the cheat sheet and just see who else has used that software. So it really is very helpful at the moment.
Yeah, all these technologies are super helpful. And Lauren, as a tech lead, as well as Megan, who's the other tech lead based in the US, are constantly looking at the technology we're using, though these are some technology we feel really good about. So we're using Microsoft 365 to host our email server, as well as our main tool in terms of everything outside of accounting software. We're using Karbon as a practice management overlay on our email that allows us to put in all our tasks to operate on a monthly basis. It's an easy way to communicate and keep track of what's going on and hold ourselves accountable, because we have a to-do list that tells us what needs to be get done on a daily and weekly basis. We're using QB Time to track our time, and we're using QuickBooks Online as our primary accounting software. It's also the software we use for Protea Financial's books as well. And we are a QBO Elite Pro Advisor, and all our team members are certified in the program. And then we're managing our team by giving them information through Guru, or all the information that we need from HR through to SOPs, live in the software so people are informed. And we're checking in and managing performance on a weekly basis by checking in via 15.5 to get the best out of our team and help them along and create the best version of themselves. Lauren, this has been amazing. Thank you for taking your time. I know it's 7:30 right now?
7:30, yeah.
7:30 at night. So I know it's right in the family time, and they're probably ready for you. So I do appreciate it. Any last words before we sign off here?
I would just say that you have to find what works for you, but the tools that we are using, we do feel great about, and it has made an impact to how our days are running, and especially the communication between the team members on different continents. So, yeah.
Totally. It is what works for your business. Go find what works for you. Make sure you have good technology in place, because it will make you better at your job. It'll make you a better accountant. Lauren, thanks again once more. And until next time, have a great day. Be kind. Goodbye.